Halito.
Hello, everyone.
This is so-called your two birds, but we're going to be doing some changes. No, we haven't seen you guys in a while. And we're going to be talking about the up-and-coming channel. It's the same channel. We're just going to change the name. Because we kind of grew out of the two birds. And we're going to have multiple guests. Family, that is. You know how we do it. Keep it in the tribe. And maybe some random, good people that we know to speak on. They
not gonna be random
topics.
Good people we know.
It's
not gonna random good people we know.
Well, it's gonna be random because it's not gonna be like a certain bunch that you're used to or that even that we're used to. Because certain people that I want to speak to, it's not the people that
you're going off script. You're not gonna keep it to the same circle.
Exactly. And we're going to talk about relationships.
That should get interesting.
We're going to talk about the Indian because, it's not a lot of, I don't think nobody really talks about the relationship amongst the Indians. And how we can go about it and grow together. It seems like there's always something missing with this, or there's this.
It seems like everything's getting upgraded except for the habits and the conditions in relationships. Seems like those habits and conditions in which they function are still staying the same. With life growth come with changes and things that you need to change up to progress in a relationship. Be it a spousal relationship, a family relationship, a professional relationship. Just relationships in general.
Exactly. So we're going to be talking about that. How we've been together for many, 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 many moons.
What was that number?
We're just going to say many, many moons.
That'll be 15 years.
Plus. And we'll just show how we make it work. And we'll be discussing. We got a lot of these books and stuff that my wife had got me years ago. During
He
Mother's
didn't introduce
Day.
me, you guys. I'm the wife. Just in case you guys didn't know, I'm the wife.
Well, she's right here, and she can introduce herself. She's already been speaking.
So, hi, you guys. I'm Tam. Tam, the wife.
All right. And these are some of the books we'll be getting into that I read to you guys, me and my son before. So we're going to be tackling a little bit of everything. We're going to go through history. We're going to go through current events, go through, as we're speaking, I'll be showing the books.
We're going to go from the beginning to present.
Native American warriors, which we'll say American Indian warriors. And we'll be discussing everything that we're seeing. We're even going to be critiquing. What do you say? Critiquing. We'll be critiquing videos and stuff like that. Different people's videos, or who's out there, who's doing a good job, or who it ain't like, anybody's doing. Well, we do got it's some mess out here going on. But we're going to have this. This is all to my wife. My wife bought all these for me a couple years ago. I've been reading through them. This is the 500 Nations by Alvin M. Josephy Jr.
There's pictures on the back. Ain't that him on the back?
Oh, wow. So y'all will be getting that. We got a lot of stuff we're going to be going to. Archaeology, discovering the world's secrets. They always got to throw in all this stuff. But it's a good book. Got some good American stuff in there. And then we'll go to this one. Atlas Ancient America. Atlas of Ancient America. But most importantly, we're going to just be discussing a lot of things to deal with us. All of you guys out there. Indian country, Indian business. Like we said, critiquing videos. Seeing what's the meat.
We're going to be critiquing videos to see what line up with actual research and not just what we think or what we feel. It's important that you have facts to support what you're putting out there so that anyone that's listening can go and research and get to the same conclusion that has been gathered. Sometimes we have a tendency to come to our own conclusion just because of what we feel or think. But at the end of the day, research don't lie. Proof don't lie. That's the only way you're going to get to the truth.
But more than that, we want to stand on our genealogy. And we know that, whoa, shout out to genealogy right there. But who's that again?
It's my grandma.
So, because we know that genealogy is the only thing you can really stand on. It's the only thing you can stand on. To be honest with you, it tells you everything. Gives you the footprints of the past, so you can walk a little clearer into your future. The Pan-Africans have done a disastrous job, and it's dangerous what they've been doing. And I'm surprised a lot more chaos and mayhem hasn't started, because
in actuality it has started because it's removed people from where they should be. A lot of standings that have been put out there. That's why we as a people don't know. We're so confused about what it should be just because of all the confusion that's been thrown in the mix about the out of Africa theory and the Pan-African movement. It's really important to do your genealogy.
Yeah, and what they've done is like, why it's so dangerous is that they give you this generalization and they give you this fantasized stories, and it's not anything to do with their personal stories. And what they've done is that, as I can recall, like in the past and stuff, it makes it's the worst thing you could ever go through. It's almost like a twin sister to religion, because religion teaches you to follow these other people instead of following your ancestors and your own people. And to remember these other people's names without remembering your own family and ancestors' names. And what I mean by that is, like, I remember, I've always known I was an Indian. There's pictures of me on, I don't have a Facebook page. It's up there, but I'm not signed in. But there's other people that's on there that know me. Empress Hobart, Phoenix Moon are on there. And my aunt and them tagged me in there. You remember the picture they tagged me in at the last powwow? One of the last one that was on the West Coast. And I was about 6, 7 years old. And I'm with so-called people that you guys would call Mongols. But that's another word we got to be careful with. Because a lot of us always talk about genealogy, right? And then we find all this so-called... I'm not talking about you in particular. I'm talking about all of us.
I just so happen to be the one he looked at, you guys.
But what I'm saying is, I'm looking for you for clarification, because a lot of people tend to talk about Mongols and stuff, right?
Yeah, and
but then they'll go on. What?
They're basing it off skin color. You can't look at skin color.
Because then, guess what? A lot of them seem to, when they're talking about their genealogy, right? I'm talking about American Indians with channels, and they'll talk about their genealogy, and then be talking about how they're mixed with European or Negropean or different tribes. Different tribe is even a mixture, right? That'd be like if a person, Ethiopian, mixed with a Zimbabwe, right? Or a Ghanaian, or whatever they call themselves, right? Wouldn't that be a mixture? Because they don't look the same. So that's even a mixture. So would that be considered a Mongol too? Or do we have like a stereotypical Mongol here that we classify people that are lighter? Or
I think they usually consider a mulatto or any mixture of a different culture, because I'm not going to say race, a different culture. So if you have two different cultures, because you can have people of the same race, same skin tones, but they're two different people. Scottish and Irish, for example.
Which ones? The Negropeans or the Europeans?
Hey, that's what I was getting ready to say. That's what's going to be interesting. That's the topic I'm ready to get to, is the slavery and who was in slavery, because that's going to be an interesting topic, and I'm pretty sure it's going to cause a lot of confusion with the unknowns with that, but I'm interested to get to that one.
But a lot of people been waking up on that, though. There's even a lot of, like, that you were watching and stuff. It's a lot of white people and stuff like that. The pale faces, they know that.
But are they pale faces? Are they true pale faces?
Well, I'm talking about certain ones that are, I wouldn't classify them all as the same.
No, but again, you have different types of Europeans that look different. But are they really any different? Some of them are related. So it's kind of like you got to be careful with the labeling of the different folks. Because though, if you line me and my siblings up, we all look different. We all have different fathers, same mother, but at the same time, I'm the lightest one of the four, but we still have the same bloodline. Because
they're all mostly my complexion. And
right.
Your mom is too. Well, she might be a little lighter than me.
Right. But I'm just saying.
Just a tad bit, yeah.
Because people.
Well, we start looking at all these tribal mixtures.
Right.
You start looking at a lot of us that have, like with me, for instance, is Choctaw, and we have, which they would say Cherokee or Shaylaki, you know, whatever, you know, you want to use these government terms or English terms or terms that are put out there, right? But you have all these tribal mixtures, is what we're saying. But back on what we're talking about, the Pan-African movement is very dangerous, and it's been very dangerous to us because it makes people cut off from their ancestors, and they tend to feel like their ancestors were weak. You know,
my ancestors were weak.
No, not. I'm saying the people that lash out.
They thought they were stupid for just taking certain things or the story that was fed to them.
So they feel like you hear people say, like, when they go with the African narrative, I ain't weak like my ancestors.
Or I ain't my ancestor.
Yeah, I ain't my ancestor. You ain't gonna just treat me like that. These white people, when you are your ancestors never went for this mess that they're giving you, these Pan-Africans, with these stories of them just being beaten and mistreated and things like that. Nah, the Indians was putting in work, man. And they're not to be touched, and we're the same today. If you get us riled up and get on our bad side, man, it could go all bad.
But I think also history repeats itself, meaning everyone walk around saying we ain't our ancestors. Everybody wasn't a warrior.
That too.
Everybody wasn't strong. I don't know if that's a DNA thing or if it's an individual thing.
Well, different tribes had different vibes.
Yeah.
So different ones were into
without them
farming. Some were into hunting. Certain tribes, which we'll get into the tribe books, some were warriors.
But if you don't know what your ancestor did or who your ancestor was, how can you say you're not your ancestor?
That's the danger of the Pan-Africans.
So
they replace your ancestors. They cut you off from them the same way religion does, and they give you a substitute.
But it's double talk if you think about it, because every time you hear anything about Africa, it's African warrior this, African warrior that. I haven't encountered any African warriors. And I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm just, all the ones that I've encountered seem meek and mild.
Yes.
They're attributes of the Caucasian person.
Whoa, but there's some research that's showing that a lot of them is over there in Africa is popping up out of Europe. I've talked on that, man, with our previous channel with our son. And, you know, Top Cats, Kuri Mayo, I have to give it to him. Kuri Mayo, Drop, remember Lex Will? When we used to watch Lex Will?
Lex Will, yeah.
They all used to speak on that way before anybody I could think of. And then Attention is one, because I think he came later. We watched a little bit of his stuff, but I got into it. You didn't watch so much of it.
I just think we just got to be careful with generalizations. I think that's what gets us in trouble. You visualize a person as a group. Individual habits and conditions are different. And I just made a statement not to say that I think Caucasians are weak, because I've met several Caucasians and they all differ. I don't know if they're true Caucasians. I don't know their background, but I know there were some that have stood with different...
Wait, what about, let's go off with the book you were reading, or what you were... Remember you had that book, Nature Knows No Color Line?
Oh, right.
And then you were just watching that one with who was that guy?
I can't think of his name.
Remember he was talking about the people you didn't know
were colored.
Yeah. And it was showing how they were coming from Europe, and the original Europe were
even
Negroes.
They have a movie now that's really controversial about Anne Boleyn. She was actually a colored lady in not a colored lady, but
yeah, that's Queen Anne.
She was melanated.
Yeah.
And so now there's a movie out with her in it, and there's a big old controversy because the first movie came out, she was a white lady or a Caucasian lady, whatever term is politically correct. Now there's a lot of controversy, but if you go back and read her description, and that's another reason why you got to be researched in what you're reading. You got to know your terms and your words. I just found out literally this week about brunette. Brunette, nowadays we use it to refer to someone's hair. Back then it referred to someone's skin, meaning that they were brown skinned people. I have some research that I'm currently doing that I'll be talking about. The very first ladies of color is how they put it in the White House.
Whoa, hold on, guys. Got a little
technical difficulty. You're going to be really surprised that there was a large majority of first ladies in the White House that were not white ladies or Caucasian ladies. But history, as they do best, they washed a lot of stuff out, and all you have to do is read. Dig and read, and you will come to your understanding and have proof. And I actually was listening to, I got this from a Caucasian gentleman. His research is excellent. I wish I could remember his name. I'm gonna have to go get his name, and I'll let you guys know, because he is excellent at researching. He's actually one that was talking about white slavery, in addition to the one that has been forced down our throat for years, as if that was the only one that existed here in the Americas. But he's really...
Yeah, because, not to cut you off, but a lot of people don't, a lot of people are waking up. Let me say that. But there's still more other people to wake up to understand that there's an Indian slavery, and there's a story. That was one of the biggest, if not the biggest, slave trade popping off in the Americas. And then we can tackle on, then the other stuff comes with the Europeans and the Negropeans being enslaved and kicked out of Ireland and kicked out of Europe, banished, which they will call, what do they call it, expelled out of their lands. They always had that European word, they're expelled and this and that. So to piggyback off what you were saying is that people automatically, because all this other stuff's been suppressed, the rest of the truth, soon as it's like the bad guy. As soon as you talk about slavery, you get a picture of a person of color. And they're like, yep, it's them. Like, do you guys not know that all these other slave trades, and you guys think so-called Africans?
But you know what's weird to me? The Holocaust was slavery. But it's not looked at as slavery. It's just looked at as the Holocaust. It's not labeled as what it is.
Well, I think slavery was that they were working.
They were too.
The Holocaust was more like an experiment.
They did both.
Because the word Holocaust means to sacrifice with fire.
That's because that's how they killed them in the big...
No, that's the origin of the word, though. It's a sacrifice. No, so what they're doing is they were sacrificing. Remember, they were breeding them. They were breeding people with two heads and things. They had like what do they call it? The island of...
I can't remember what it was.
Where he was doing all the experiments.
They were doing that too, because they had them like cleaning the house. They were working in the house. The ones that they felt was worthy enough to go in the house.
I don't know if to speak on that. And see, this is what you guys be getting, because we're not always going to be in agreement with each other. Because I wouldn't speak on that because I don't know about that. I know I've done research on that, but it's not my history. So I don't want to speak on nobody else's history. That's for them to dig into and figure out if it was true. Because a lot of people say it wasn't true. A lot of people say it was a staged thing.
Oh, that's true. But we don't know if it's your history or not unless you do your genealogy.
That too. Because we're finding out there's a lot of people of color from Germany. I mean, from everywhere. If you're going with the, people of color were the first ones, then you got to know they were first ones everywhere. So we were popping up everywhere. It's not like we were traveling out of Africa. No, they were growing like trees. Yeah, people coming out of Germany, growing up out of there, colored people growing up out of Ireland, people growing up out of America.
Common sense, because you can't think people without melanin is the only one that populated the lands. Why are they the only ones that could be Irish? Why are they the only ones that could be Scottish? But then we have ones in America, but they're not here by themselves. So you have to assume it's going to be the same in every other place.
What's that?
You're going to have all kind of people there.
Like add mix or
you
lighter
have different groups.
Different...
You're going to have different groups of people everywhere you go.
Ethnicities. Yeah. And that goes on because I've heard a lot of people say you're going to be surprised to learn that some of these pale faces are indigenous to America. And
makes sense.
So, yeah, this research stuff it's a beautiful thing right now. It's a beautiful thing to be awoke. Everybody at my job that's of color knows the Indian story in their family.
What do you mean?
Remember what we talked about? Everybody at my job that I've talked
about it, they don't know.
But what I'm saying is everybody that I've mentioned or brought to you
right.
at my job of color, and I've asked them, and they've all said that their family oral history is that they're Indians. And they don't say Native Americans, no disrespect to Native Americans. I think when you start getting into the Native American thing, you're going to start dealing with more of that on the East Coast, I would say, with the kind of lighter ones and the mixture. What I'm trying to say is that the people who say that they have a Native American background or stuff like that, they're usually coming from the Eastern Shores. And there's a lot of them that's, their tribe is more of a mixture. You get what I'm saying? The lighter Native American looking ones. So where you have people of color, copper colors, and them mixed together. You know how we look at the powwows or things like that? It shows copper people and it shows the Native American people. But when you get down south, all the Indians are just us, besides the Latinos. And you know, and a lot of them have a lot of our family backgrounds into them because we've done a lot of mixing in the past. And I hear people talk about that too. Talk about how much we were mixing in the past and the grannies and stuff took your Negropean and European husbands, which we know.
Again, history repeats itself. All you have to do is look at all the cross mixing today. We got to assume that it was the same in the past.
Yeah. I think the difference is once this system really got its hand on us, is when they use it against us like a weapon. Because if you look, there's something I want to dig into too, that we'll be digging into in this channel. We're going to dig on a lot of stuff. But you remember, what was it, the Ottoman Islands? Remember when they shot that Christian dude that was trying to come over there?
He was trying to give him the Bible.
Yeah, but do you remember when I showed you that picture? When I blew it up and they were saying how they never really messed with that island? And they were showing them out there walking around with their bows, and there was dark-skinned ones, and there was also some light-looking, Latino-looking ones, the Native American-looking ones. Well, I have the picture. It's on my hard drive. I have a lot of the pictures and stuff like that. So that they were shooting from a drone. They used a drone. Remember? They used a drone over there, and they were showing them. But it goes to show you, like, guys, we can't be judgmental. You can't.
You can't go off skin tone.
You can't. You'll lose. Just stick to genealogies. Stand on your ancestors. Everybody stand on a square. Or what I like to say, your circle. Circle of life. Stand on your circle. And know who you are. And be able to tell your story. And that's what we're going to be coming out. And we're going to be diving into our genealogy too. We're going to pick a day where we're going to be doing it. As far as like this, well, how would you say, like, when we're going to be shooting the video?
When we start posting the videos. Or
we'll be posting, up. Like, what days will we try to, maybe on a Saturday? Or will we do it how we feel? Do we want to get them?
We're going to have a regular day, 1 or 2 days. We're going to have a regular day so it's consistent. We'll have to come to agreement with that, with schedules.
And you guys got to know. So you see on this, Buffalo Soldiers right here. Shout out to the Houston. You see that buffalo right there, that brown buffalo. You know, we went to the Buffalo Museum. If you ain't seen that video, check it out. See the buffalo. Got this out the museum. Y'all can go and cop. I think they're online. Can you order online too? Go to the Houston Buffalo Soldiers. And it's, you remember when we were down there and the lady knew when we were talking about genealogy and she was talking about she'd been doing hers? And remember me and her had that conversation? And she was a pretty dark-skinned sister, but she knew. And she said she knew she had Indian in her family. That was oral. But it's like, it ain't nothing new, like what we all know. But we all have our own stories. We all have our own.
I think everyone should just find it interesting that when you're younger, I can only remember my grandparents said, yeah, we have Indian in our family. I've never been told that we had any tribes across the water. Ever.
You sure, girl? They never told you you had some Ghanaian in you?
No, I ain't Igbo.
Ethiopian?
I ain't any of that.
Eritrean?
They ain't never told me that. Unless they holding that to the vault for whatever reason, and I've never been told that.
Yeah, so you guys, we all know. We know what's going on. Everybody's waking up. It's a beautiful thing. May you guys continue to wake up. And shout out to the brothers and sisters. Arrows up. To the ones that continue to wake y'all up. Shout out to us. We did our part. You came on here and did your couple guest appearances. Talked about your genealogy. We gotta go a little bit more into that, to the Mark history and when they were coming out of, what was that, Louisiana?
No, they were coming out of
what was that we were reading?
They were Creek. The Creek Indians. So they were coming out of Alabama.
Well, no, but he was a Cherokee. Your grandpa Bob.
He was mixed. He wasn't just. He was two different.
Well,
things.
we're always gonna know. We're gonna find out that we're all mixed with all different tribes.
Because the relatives that would leave for like this winter, they would go to. It was Creek. They were Creek.
Yeah. So we're gonna dig into that too. We'll dig into. I want to go into that history where that dude was a primary source. Remember the one that I had and I kept reading it to you where he said that when he got there, the so-called black slaves or the black what was it? I can't remember what he said, but he said they brought their slaves with them. Remember he said the black people brought their slaves with them?
That wasn't for Nickton, was it?
He was talking about
so the
East Texas.
history of Nickton, or Niggertown, is what they used to call it. But it's now called Nickton, Texas, where we have our own road down there, Mark Road, down there. My great-great-grandfather was one of the ones that helped get that city established.
East Texas on the map. Shout out, arrows up. So yeah, y'all, be on the lookout. We coming with some great content, relationship advice, things on how the Indians can come back to healing and building with each other. This is my new house, or our new house.
Yeah, but I say you don't live here by yourself.
This is our new house that we got, you know, like I told y'all. And we got some all kind of, what is that thing called? Mevo. So we got a Mevo camera. We got all kind of stuff we're gonna be using, and to bring a lot more functioning to the
a lot more flexibility with the talks and visualization. So we're gonna have a lot more visualizations on the camera to show proof of what we did, so you can see it versus us just saying that we did it or read it.
Exactly. And just like we said, we're gonna have guests. We'll have our daughters, you know, certain ones, or whenever they're around, or whoever wants to speak on it, because they all know. And family, and just like I said, friends / acquaintance, and things of that. I want to make sure that you guys are standing on your genealogy. and we've been saying this. Shout out to the brother Wanagi. Shout out to Sister Phoenix Moon, because they were the ones in the beginning. I know. I remember Wanagi used to have that hashtag prove it. Prove who you are, and genealogy is the key. So, and then I started coming with that with them. And it used to be a beautiful thing back when they all used to build together. Remember when they used to all be on, like, I used to be like, dang, that is like so beautiful. It used to have me spark. Remember how sparked I used to be? Like, man, it used to be A1, Holiday, AP, what was it, Ab TV? They were all doing their thing. Like, and I think, then Curry Mayo, didn't he come on there on the panel with them a few times? Yeah, he did. It was like a beautiful thing back then. And it's like, what happens is the information starts to separate you. You know what I mean? Well, like, if you don't upgrade and you stay with this and you're not really staying up to date on this information, because it's going to keep
What's an ego thing, too? It's an ego thing, too, because this stuff, you have to be really humble, and you have to be able to rethink how you already, what you know. None's worse than being told that what you know is not true. And so you can see why it's hard for people to rethink. So even if you already recalibrated yourself and you go and get new information, so you already got, oh, I got this new information, I already know. But then somebody come and say, well, no, hold on. What about this, this, and this? It's going to be a little bit harder to recalibrate yet again.
That part.
But you have to be flexible, because stuff is ever changing with the knowledge. The more advanced stuff is, the more knowledge you're going to be able to have access to. I'm still waiting for something super explosive to come out, and everybody is not going to have a choice but to believe it and understand it and see it. Because with all the stuff that's starting to open up, because they can't fight it, now they have to, they're piecemealing the information out. But eventually,
it's overwhelming.
Yeah, they can't deny it anymore. It's too many people saying, wait a minute, that ain't adding up anymore. What about this, this, and this? It's amazing what happens when people start reading. And the crazy thing, all this information wasn't really hidden. You just had to pick up a book and research. And a lot of us don't want to research. We want Happy Meals. We want instant drive-through. Go ahead and throw it out the window at me. You don't want to take the time to sit down at a nice dinner and let the chef cook it up for you and be patient and read through it. You want to just throw it out the window and go, okay, so that's what you said? Okay, that's what we're going to go with. That's easy. Makes sense enough to me. I ain't going to look at it, but you have no reason to lie to me, so I'm going to go ahead and take it. So
that's what's been played on our people, or on people. But the main thing that's going to separate everybody from each other is genealogy. Genealogy is going to let you know who is who. I think it's a beautiful thing. I mean, you can't lose with that. It's the trump card. I
think it is too. I think it empowers you. I think ones that feel like there's no hope, I think it's a real good thing for them, because you no longer can say we're the weak ones or we're the low people at the bottom. When you have this history and your genealogy shows you had all these people that were great in your genealogy. Now you have to look within, like, okay, what have I been doing? Like, it's me. It's not external causes. I mean, you're always going to have external causes that's going to suppress you from doing certain things. But now you don't have that suppression on your mental. So I think it's a good thing.
And you start finding out about your land. Remember my relative's wife? Remember when she said she found out her tribe?
Yeah.
Remember?
Mm-hmm.
And she was talking about they have 400 acres or something, and they got a Walmart on there. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about, man, fam, that's crazy. Like, I'm glad you told me this. Like, my wife started doing it, and he was saying he's been tackling with his genealogy because, you know, we come from the same family, but he has a different strain on his mom's side, so he's got to start looking into that. But, yeah, she's a dark-skinned copper, your typical Indian-looking one with, she got natural pretty hair and stuff, but that's not to say that that makes you an Indian. She just that looked at everybody kind of.
Well, I think it's more so the abnormal look for an Indian, because the world as a whole don't look at her and say she's an Indian. I think that's
But most people will look and kind of like, no, like, as dark as she is, like, that's like that. What do they call them? Is it the darker Ethiopians? Where they have that kind of curly hair?
I'm not sure.
Because I think people have I want to say like we're all kind of racist at one point. Because you had this stereotype that you thought dark-skinned people was going to have the nappy hair or this, and then you run across light-skinned people to have it.
I've never thought that. I've never even. What's so crazy?
Well, people would always say she got that good hair. She must have Indian in them, or
have.
But you know, we always say that and try to equivalate that to.
But I've never looked at people and thought that, which is weird. And I think we had that conversation before. Like, it's crazy to me that now that this thing has been exposed about who is a real Indian, and I've never seen a light Indian and said I never pictured them like that. Like, even though they would be right there, because the state we came from, we had a lot of tribal land there.
Oh, the federally recognized ones.
Yeah, but the people that they always showed me, I never looked at them. When I pictured an Indian, even young, they were always dark skinned, kind of like the reddish skin. So when I seen them, I never thought, no, they wasn't. I just knew I didn't really consider it, which is weird to me when you think about it.
Yeah, it's kind of like how you were talking about with the Africans. How you never seen them as like they're meek, and how we all know that. But it was the same way, and no disrespect to the Native Americans, but I couldn't see them fitting that narrative of, even I used to go to powwows with them and sweat lodges. I never seen them as like this, like how we are. We're like this great built, naturally six packs,
straight drunks. The ones that,
well, we don't want to disrespect.
No. And I'm gonna say that the ones that
we drink too.
No. When I say they're drunks, because before I moved here, I worked on tribal land, and they were our customers, and so they were known for going over to Fife, picking them up from random places from being drunk, to the point where it was so bad that the people who rented out that city was threatened by the tribal commission to get shut down if they kept harassing their people. So it's not just me just randomly throwing facts out there about that, but that from that experience over there is what I seen over there from them.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. But I'm not saying as a whole, like, to generalize them. But what I'm saying is, like, I never seen them as like, because even if we get tore up like that, we still like some wild ones.
Exactly.
We get tore up from drinking. We just get wild, and you're going to know there's some Indians in the building. You see it in the clubs. You see it like...
If you listen how they describe...
Parades.
Indian raids. And then think about a riot or uprising you've seen at a club, at a sports arena.
You know them some Indians.
And you can compare the two instances. Who it is.
You know them and some people of color getting busy. So, yeah, on that note, we're going to cut this down. We're going to say peace,
we'll see you guys.
Positive energy. May you guys stand on your genealogy. And yeah, we got some great content and things for you guys to look forward to as we move forward as American Indians. And you were raised out west, just not before we cut it off, to let them know that you're originally born and raised Houston. Well, not raised, but you left when?
Born here when I was left. We left here when I was 12.
And went to the West and
came back when my daughter was in her 20s. So.
Our daughter. See how I did that? Remember when I said my house?
Yeah.
So, you know, we balance each other out. That's the Indian way. And on that note, we're going to say it once again, but we will be seeing y'all soon. Peace, positive power and energy. May you, how we say?
Grow, prosper, learn, expand.
Expand. And we are out of here, y'all. Until next time, feathers up, wise up, rise up, then you can tribe up. Shout out to my partner, my boy, my little homie, man, Wanagi. We out of here, y'all.
Have a good night.
Squad.